Hello and welcome to Sunday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic, where I'm going to be attempting this incredible looking puzzle. This has only just been recommended to us actually, but it was recommended to us fulsomely by the great constructor juggler Michael Lefkowitz, and I clicked on the Logic Masters link and I thought, I've just got to have a go at this immediately. It's called Cheryl's Sudoku. It's by Elytron. And it's based off that. There was a famous, I think it is fair to call it famous. There was a famous exam question, I want to say in Singapore back in the day, called Cheryl's Birthday, which seemed absolutely ludicrous. It was a very strict logical exercise, though. And this is some sort of Sudoku representation of that original puzzle. It sounds absolutely brilliant. Juggler said it's sort of one of the best puzzles he's ever solved, and well, it's my birthday today, so if you'll permit me, I thought I might treat myself on my birthday to a puzzle that really does immediately appeal to me, and I'm going to have a go at it for you in a few moments' time. Let me just show you though. I snipped the comments on Logic Masters just before I turned on the webcam. Look at these comments. It's amazing this solves logically. Juggler, the best thing I've solved in ages. What an amazing logic puzzle. Somebody says they hope it can be featured on Cracking the Cryptic. I hope it can be as well. I'll have to solve it though. Someone says it might need paper for taking notes. I hope it doesn't, because I refuse to allow myself that. Someone says it's genius. Crusader, it's a very good solver, says absolutely brilliant. So I think this is going to be something of a treat. And I'll read you the rules. I mean, maybe I should just, it's one of these things where sort of they all know their own numbers. And Albert says nobody here can place any digits yet. Bertrand says, well, now I can. Carl says, no one else was told the same digit as I was. And David says, someone here knows more digits than I do. And following all that, one of them could finish the puzzle. It's just mad, isn't it? Anyway, so I'll read the rules properly in a moment or two's time. But I have got some things to tell you about, and I've got some birthday announcements to do. But let me think. Let's start by doing what we didn't do yesterday, which is to catch up on our Sudoku competition, which is going on at the moment over on Patreon. So this is called Yin Yang Journey. It's by Itrio, and because I've been away, I haven't refreshed this for some days. But we were at 1,388 solves of the first puzzle and 41 solves of the final puzzle. So let's see where we are now. Nearly up to 2,000 solves of the first puzzle and 323 solves of the whole thing. That is extraordinary. Fantastic work. So actually more people have solved the final puzzle than have solved the penultimate puzzle, which is slightly odd. But anyway, this is tremendous. The feedback that Itrio's been garnering for these wonderful puzzles is sensationally good, and you've still got loads of time if you want to have a go. 12 days left before the closing date hits upon us. So if you fancy winning the chance to make a Sudoku video with me that will appear on the channel, do get involved. It's a couple of bucks to join us over on Patreon. And thank you, of course, to all those of you who support us there. Now, other news, we've released 2 new apps last week. These are the Sudoku worms of Marty Sears and James Sinclair. So what does that mean? Well, it basically means, let me show you. This is one we've got coming out soon, which is by Michael Lefkowitz, appropriately enough. And you can see that you sort of solve one puzzle and you get a little bit of the next one. So then you solve the next one, you get a little bit of the next one, etc. And yeah, each worm is by an individual constructor, and obviously we've been, people like Marty and Juggler and James are fantastic constructors. So you can well imagine how good the puzzles are. It's just $1 each as well. So I think it would be hard to find anything that's quite as good, quite as much fun per hour. Or how could we do this? Per hour of enjoyment, the price is remarkably low. So check those out. They're available right now on Steam, so for your computer, and obviously on the App Store and Android as well. Now, let's do birthdays as well. What have we got here? Oh, a birthday I'm late with. I'm sorry, I missed this one. I shouldn't have done it. It's entirely my fault. But Adrian, it was your birthday yesterday. You turned the big 40, and your wife, Tammy, did write in time, and I just missed the message. And I think, well, the birthday greetings are also from little Sophie, of course. And Tammy described you as a great person who's dearly loved, and I'm sorry I missed your birthday yesterday, Adrian, and I hope it was a good one. Next, let's talk about other birthdays. Well, it is my birthday, and some of you have been kind enough to write to me to wish me happy birthday. I've had messages from inter alia. Poulet over in Montreal wrote me the most wonderful email. It was really, really kind and just incredible, really. Poulet even confessed to having eaten a banana in 1998. I'm so sorry about that. And Poulet's not missed a video in 5 years. But he finished with something I thought was incredibly on the money. So his email finished by thanking all of the setters, without whom, of course, Cracking the Cryptic wouldn't exist. You know, these videos would not exist but for these incredible minds making these puzzles. And as Poulet says, it's the beauty of their minds that helps to some of us keep hope in humanity, which I thought was a rather lovely way of putting it. So Poulet, I did really appreciate your email. Thank you for sending it. And I did appreciate the birthday wishes. I also had birthday wishes from Emily Williams, who of course is a huge help to us on the channel. So Emily, thank you for your birthday wishes, and of course for all the help you give us. Envis, who I think it's Envis's birthday today as well. I think you're 15, if I'm not mistaken, Envis. And I know that last year, I think you've had your first year at high school and also some health issues, which I hope you're over. But you did send a picture of the chocolate cake that you were having, and I thought this looked great. Oh, it's a bit too big. I'm so rubbish with computers. An irony that's not lost on me. There we go. Yeah, that looks properly calorific, actually. Delicious. Envis, happy birthday. I'm going to wish Codec a very happy birthday because I happen to know it's the great constructor Codec's birthday today as well. Also my friend Neil, who was at Bruce Springsteen last night, standing on the Anfield pitch to watch Bruce Springsteen. I mean, there can't be many better ways of spending your birthday eve than that. But Neil, one of the cleverest people I know, happy birthday. Richard wrote to me and wanted to a shout out for me on my birthday. I think he shares my birthday as well. Richard signed off his email by describing himself as an unlicensed quantum mechanic, which I did like. Richard, happy birthday. Another birthday is Taco Dave, who claimed it would butter his biscuit if there was a birthday shout out for him. So Taco Dave, many happy returns. And Taco Dave is one of the brains, I think, behind Puzzle at Pride, which has just done a new showcase, I think, which has got Sudokus and cryptic crosswords in it. So I will try and remember to put a link. I hope I will try and remember to do that. If I forget, somebody remind me in the comments and then I can fix it. But Taco Dave, happy birthday. And then finally, Lucas. Lucas, you've turned 28 today. I know this because your girlfriend Anna wrote in. I think she got you a Cracking the Cryptic mug for your birthday back in 2020. Some time ago, isn't it? And you've been watching ever since. So Lucas, many thanks for watching. And I think Anna watches as well. So thanks to the two of you. And Lucas, I hope you have a great birthday today. That's all the news. Let's have a look Cheryl Sudoku by Elytron. The rules are brilliant. They are as follows. Albert, Bertrand, Carl and David are perfectly logical Sudoku solvers. So this must be a... Bertrand Russell, that must be. David Hume. Carl Jung? Carl is spelt with a sort of a caterpillar "k" rather than a kicking "k". Maybe Albert Einstein? Albert Einstein. Who are the great logicians of history? I don't know. Camus? No, I'm not sure. Anyway, they're all perfectly logical Sudoku solvers. They are shown the following 4x4 Sudoku grid with these rules. Normal 4x4 Sudoku rules apply, so that means we've got to put the digits 1 to 4 once each in every row, every column, and every 2x2 box. Digits in cages sum up to the value in the top left and may repeat. Oh goodness, I nearly read that wrongly. And may repeat if allowed by other rules. Right. So it's possible those two digits are the same. That's very unusual. Killer cages normally you don't have a repeated digit in, but apparently in this one may repeat if allowed by other rules. Yeah, it's clear. So we can repeat digits in this puzzle. So those two could be the same. Those two could be the same. I don't think those two can't be the same because of Sudoku. But if there is a repeated digit in a killer cage, it's either there and there or there and there. There, I've said it. Now, this is so clever. Each solver is privately told the value of one variable. Albert is told A. Bertrand is told B. Carl is told C. And David is told D. They then have the following conversation. Albert says, "Nobody here can place any digits yet." Bertrand says, "Well, now I can." Carl says, "No one else was told the same number as I was." And David says, "Someone here knows more digits than I do." And after this exchange, one of the four solvers completes the Sudoku. Can you do the same? I've no idea whether I can do the same, but I absolutely love the idea of this puzzle. That is absolutely... It's one of the greatest rule sets ever. There I've said it. In surely what must be one of the greatest 4x4 Sudokus ever. Do have a go. The way to play is to click the link under the video as usual. But now, I get to play. Let's get cracking. Now, how do we do this then? So we can repeat digits in cages. Each solver... So A knows the value of that. B knows the value of that. D knows the value of that. C knows the value of that. And A is the first person to speak and says, "Nobody here can place any digits yet." Right. So A's total. Yeah, that is interesting. So A's total cannot be... It cannot be a total that's going to allow... Yeah, imagine the total for A was 4. Then A could place a digit, because A could go 1, 1, 2. There's only one way of making this cage sum to 4. It would have to have a repeated 1 in it, so I could place the 2 1s and the 2. And the same is going to be true, isn't it, if we go high? So 4, 4, 3 is 11. So if A was told that the total was 11, we could do that. But how? Sorry, I'm just now I'm sort of questioning whether what I've just said is correct, because surely C. How does A know that? If C had a total of 4, C could do that. How does A know that? How does A know? Nobody here can place any digits yet. So A somehow knows that C can't, for example, do that. But A... Hang on, this is very peculiar. B and D are irrelevant, aren't they, from this? It doesn't matter what B or D sum to. There's no way. I mean, let's say D was, I don't know, 6. If D is 6... No, I mean, even if D is 3, which is more constrained... no, it's not more constrained than 6. But let's say D was extreme. So it's the lowest 2 digits it could possibly be. So if D was told, your total is 3, D... That's great for D, but D doesn't know which order these are in. B wouldn't know which order those were in. I suppose if D was 1, 2, then D would know that these 2 cells were 3, 4. Oh, I see. So that would be 1, 2. That would be 3, 4. Yeah, but there's still no way of... No, because D only knows... David only knows his own total. So unless B told D his total as well... No, which is not what happens here. Yeah, so I think B and D are not relevant to the first statement. A knows that B and D, whatever they've been told, they're not going to know anything. But somehow A knows. Right, what does A know? So A knows that his own total is not 4 or 11, and somehow A knows, despite the fact that A has not been told this, that C's total is not 4 or 11. And that is the bit that I am struggling with, because how does A know that? So does that mean that... So if you had that in C, A can't... A's composition has to be such that this is impossible. And also, simultaneously, that this is impossible. So does that mean A has to have 1 and 4 in it? Yeah, well, I'm saying yes. I don't know this to be true, but this feels right, doesn't it? If A... So A we know is not 4 or 11, because then A could just place digits in his own cage. So A is given a total such that he knows C can't be 4 or 11. Sorry, and I'm just trying to think this through. I think that means that A has to have 4 and 1. but I'm not certain. Because if A was told that I don't think A's total is 5. Because 5 is either going to be 3, 1, 1, which would stop C being 4, 4, 3 or 1, 1, 2. But A could be 2, 2, 1, couldn't it? And that wouldn't stop that being 4, 4, 3. So if A was told your total is 5, A could not make the statement that nobody can place a digit, because if C could absolutely be 11. Now, I'm wondering if that's symmetrical. What do I mean by symmetrical is that 4 and 7 are sort of the most extreme totals we can generate. The next most extreme would be 5 and 10. And 5 and 10 are going to have 2 ways of making them up. And I have a feeling, and this is only a feeling, but if A was 10, obviously then I think C might have the ability to be 4. But let's just have a think about that. How would that work? So if A was 10, it has to have a repeated digit, because 2, 3 and 4 only add up to 9. So it would have a repeated digit, and that would either therefore be 3, 3, 4. 3, 3, 4. Well, so if A is 10, you can easily see that could be 1, 1, 2. So there's no way if A is 10 that A can make the statement. That's immediately just disproved just by doing that. So A's total, therefore, is not 4 or 5 or 10 or 11. It's not 4, 5, 10 or 11. So it's 6, 7, 8. 6, 7, 8 or 9. Okay. It's most likely to be middly, because we need sort of low and high digits forced into A. I think that was exciting. I don't know what. I think I pressed the number pad. That's probably the first time I've ever pressed a digit on the number pad on my new keyboard. Anyway, so let's think this through again. So now, if A was 6, how many ways are there of making 6? 6 could be 1, 2, 3, which wouldn't work. That if it. Oh, in fact, that proves it. That's weird. Yeah. Okay, so imagine A was told your value is 6. Then A wouldn't know how his total was made up, because it could have a repeated digit or not. But if it didn't have a repeated digit, why couldn't it be that? It could be, is the point. And if it could be that, then C could be that. Boom. That's disproved. So if A was told it's 6, it won't work. Now, is that the same with 9? If it was 9, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, that doesn't work. Because if it was 2, 3, 4, let's just put 2, 3, 4 in, we could just do 1, 1, 2. So again, there's no way A could make the statement that nobody here could place digits yet. So, irrespective of the fact there are other ways of making 9, I can see that there is a possible way of making 9 for A that wouldn't allow A to make the statement, therefore he could not make the statement. So, 7 and 8 are the ones that we're left with. Nobody here can place any digits yet. So how on earth... Well, if 7 was 3 different digits, it would be 1, 2, 4. That would be a problem. Oh, well, in a sense, it wouldn't be a problem at all. It would be perfect. Because if A was 1, 2, 4, in any order, there's no way you could have a repeated 1 or a repeated 4 in C. So C, even if C was... C could not be told your total is 4 or 11 then, because it would clash with A's total. So the thing that's more complicated is, what if A has a repeated digit then? I think this might not work then. So if A has a repeated digit, oh, okay. No, I think it's all right. Yes. All right. So we've just said if A was 7, it would, and all the digits were different, it would be 1, 2, 4. So C couldn't have repeated 1 or repeated 4 in it, because then A couldn't exist. But if A has a repeated digit, it's in those two squares, isn't it? Now, what is the repeated digit? Because it's not 1, because double 1 would cause this to be a 5, which doesn't exist. And it's not 4, because that would cause this to be a -1, which doesn't exist. So the repeated digit is 2 or 3. And that's not going to work. Because if you put 2 2's in here, with a 3 here, what are these digits? They're not extreme. That's the point. They're not extreme. So if A was told... Well, let me just show you. Sorry, just complete the logic. These would be 1 and 4. So C could not be told that your total, Carl, is 4 or 11. Because, obviously, this digit is not going to permit that. Now, the alternative, of course, is not that we're repeating 2. We could be repeating 3. And that doesn't work, because these, again, these are not extreme. This is a 2-4 pair. And again, this can't add up to 11 or 4, which are the two numbers that would allow C to place a digit. So in fact, 7 is definitely... I was going to say it's definitely right, but we need to think about 8 as well. Now, how does 8 work? So if 8 was 3 different numbers, it would be 1, 3, 4, and that would be the same as 1, 2, 4. Because this has 1 and 4 in it, you can't repeat 1, you can't repeat 4. So 8 might work, but how does 8 work with... Okay, so if 8 has a repeated digit, we've got those two repeating. Can't be 1 repeating. It could be 2 repeating. I don't think this is going to work, because this is going to be 1, 3. And even if it was in that order, this doesn't add up to a number where C would be able to place a digit. Oh, okay, but we've got one more possibility, which is double 3, 2. But that's the same. We're going to have 1 and 4 here. And even if that repeats, it doesn't add up to a number where C... So C here, imagine C was told your total is 6. There are so many ways of making that work. C couldn't place a digit. The only way C can place a digit is if C is told your total is 4 or 11. But we've now proved that if A knew that his total was 7 or 8, A would know that C didn't have a total that was 4 or 11, because the various combinations ways for A making his total work prevented that. So A could make the statement that nobody here can place any digits yet. So A, I don't know. I don't know how A works. I don't know if this has a repeat. But I do know that A adds to 7 or 8. So now, okay, so now it gets even more. Oh, what a tangled web we weave when first we practice to deceive, because now, so when A says nobody here can place any digits yet, Bertrand, Carl and David also know. They know their own totals individually, but they know now that A's total is 7 or 8. This is magnificent. This is magnificent. So Bertrand was saying, well, now I can. Nobody here can place any digits yet. Bertrand says, well, now I can. Means what? So Bertrand knows A's total is 7 or 8. And Bertrand the only other thing... Okay, another thing Bertrand knows is that C's total is not 4 or 11. Because otherwise C could have placed a digit. But A's total being 7 or 8 prevents C's total from being 4 or 11. So whatever B's total is, suddenly allows B to go, boom, I know now. Oh no, hang on, this doesn't work. Because now... sorry, hang on, I've got stuck in my brain here. This doesn't work. Because what I'm thinking is from Sudoku, B knows that whatever the makeup is of B's own cage, by Sudoku, the bottom of A's cage are those digits. Imagine this was 2 and 4. Those are 2 and 4. By Sudoku, these would be 1 and 3. These would be 1 and 3. But B can't know. B can't know C's total. So B can't know that digit. But I don't think B can know that digit either. Because B doesn't know whether this is 7 or 8. So imagine this was 6. So let me just put 2 and 4 in just to show you what I'm thinking. Maverick's flying over. Hello, Maverick. This would be 2 and 4, but then this, we know B knows A is 7 or 8, so that could be 1 or 2. But B is now meant to be able to place a digit. Yes, I see. This is absolute genius. Right, so what B has to do... Yeah, the total for this domino here must be such that there's only one option for this, i.e., it doesn't work with this being 6, because there are 2 options for this digit. If this was 5, there would be 2 options for this digit, because it would be 7 or 8. If this was 4, that could be 3 or 4. If this was 3, then there is only one option. Because if this is a 1-2 pair, and I think this is going to be reversible, so if this is a 4-3 pair, I think it's going to work the same way. If this is a 1-2 pair, this is a 1-2 pair, but because we know this adds up to 7 or 8, it can't add up to 8 if this is a 1-2 pair, because I can't write 5 in here. So if B was told your total is 3, then Albert saying, I can't, nobody here can place any digits, would allow B to go, well, now I can. Because B gets the information that A is 7 or 8. B being 3 makes that a 4. Now, what about the other way around? So if this was 3 and 4 adding up to 7, yeah, then this couldn't be a 0, so this would be a 1. Yeah, so this is right. So this is great because we're still not dead, because right, Bertrand is able to say I can place a digit if Bertrand's total is extreme, i.e. 3 or 7. And A's total, okay, so if this is 3, that's 1, 2, and that's a 4. And if this is 7, that's 3, 4, and that's 1. So this is 1 or 4, and that is the digit I believe that B can place. I say the digit, I'm not, let me just mull that over for a moment. There may be more digits. So if this is 1, 2, this is 1, 2, this is 4, this is 3, 4. But B doesn't know C's total, let alone D's total. And if that's 1, 2, the 4 here doesn't disambiguate it. Okay. And if this is 3, 4, the 1 here doesn't disambiguate this. Okay, so, hang on though. So if that was 3, 4, and that was 3, 4, and that was 1, that would be 1, and that would be 2 by Sudoku. And if this is 1, 2, and this is 1, 2, and that's 4, that would be 4, and that would be 3 by Sudoku. So I think, yes, okay, so Bertrand, I'm not sure how many digits Bertrand gets, but definitely some. But now it's even more horrible. Because Bertrand can place digits, but only Bertrand can place digits, I think. Nobody here can place any digits yet, is what Albert says. Okay, and we understand why that's the case. Bertrand says now I can, because Bertrand is told your total, Bertrand, is 3 or 7. So in Bertrand's mind, Bertrand gets that digit, and maybe some other digits too. But that's what Bertrand knows. The others, because the others don't know Bertrand's total, the others know this is 1 or 4, but they don't know which, whereas Bertrand knows which. Okay, and so now let's think about what does Carl say? Carl says no one else was told the same number as I was. I tell you what I'm interested in there. That word number makes me wonder if it's not a digit. That Carl, there's a difference in numbers and digits. We've got into trouble with that with instructions before on puzzles. So a number is normally, a double-digit number, as opposed to a digit, which is obviously just one number. No one else was told the same number as I was. I mean, that is horrific. How on earth? So, okay, I'm sorry. I need to recapitulate what I think Carl knows at this point. So Carl is told his own total, which we know from what Albert says can't be 4 and can't be 11. And then Carl Carl knows at the point he makes this statement that Albert's total is 7 or 8. Yes, and Bertrand's total is 3 or 7. Oh, hang on. So this, so if that's 3. So 3. Oh, I see. So if Bertrand's total is 3, Albert's total is 7, and if Bertrand's total is 7, Albert's total is 8. So 7 is always used up between A and B, but we don't know which way round, and neither does Carl. But so Carl's totals are not 4, 7, or 11. So they are 4, 7, or 11. 4 is the lowest, so it's 5, 6. 5, 6, 8, 9, 10. 5, 6, 8, 9, 10 are the possible totals, I think, at this point for Carl. But Carl is able to say that no one else was given the same total. How does he know that? So I'm not sure. I need to think this through. So if Carl is told your total, Carl, is 5, then Carl somehow knows that no one else... Well, Carl would know that A and B were not 5 because B was either 3 or 7 and A was either 7 or 8. So if Carl is told 5, Carl somehow knows that D is not 5. How does Carl know? How does Carl know that? How does Carl know that? I'm sorry, I haven't got a clue. Hang on. If Carl... Well, okay, one thing we do know, actually, if Carl... We know those two digits, don't we? Are the opposite of B, in the sense that B is an extreme pair. It's 1, 2, or 3, 4, which means C is an extreme pair. So if C is 5... Obviously, the extreme pair here is not 3, 4. This is 1, 2, so this would be 2. So this would be a 1. So hang on, let me think. Oh, sorry, I'm being slow here. So if no one else was told the same number as I was, so if Carl is told your number's 5, Carl says, oh, well, I know that D is not 5. And Carl does that with the knowledge that we're in this world. So we would get a 3. This would be 3, this would be 4. This would be 1, this would be 1, this would be 4. This would be 3, this would be 3. Oh, this would be 3. This would be 4. 3, 3, 4, 1, 1, 2. 2 in the corner. Well, I don't like this. I don't understand how Carl can know hang on. So we know that. Let's just delete this for a second. We know these two digits are extreme. And we know these are from the other extreme. So we know one of these is high. When I say high, in a 1, 2, 3, 4 Sudoku, when I say high, I mean a 3 or a 4 digit. And one of them is a 1 or a 2 digit. So these two digits are one from each. One of them is from 1, 2, one of them is from 3, 4. I haven't got a clue what the order is. Carl would know. Because if Carl is adding up to 5, Carl knows this digit is low. So Carl knows this digit is high. Carl knows this, that D is made up of 1 high, 1 low. So this would be high. See, the thing is, I think, and I might be wrong about this. Okay, I see. Hang on. So what are we... Right. So if we're saying... Yes, because Carl is told a total. So maybe what we're meant to do here is prove that Carl wasn't told a total of 5, because I'm struggling to see why 5 doesn't work. But that would imply that there must be a difference. So what? Yeah. So Carl. So Carl is told some total, and immediately no. Well, Oh, right, hang on, I've got something much simpler. So if Carl... Right, the options for Carl's total are 5, 6, 8, 9, 10. Well, and the thing we're trying to prove is that D is different to C. Now, if Carl's total was 8, 9, or 10, D couldn't add up to 8, 9, or 10, because it can only be a 3, 4 pair. Which I don't actually think it can be, because it's made up, I think, always of 1 high and 1 low digit. So, yeah, so the maximum value of this is going to be a 4, 2 pair for 6. Yeah, but it's certainly true, isn't it? Oh, but hang on, 8 here. How would we know? Oh, we would know, actually. If C was 8, C would know that A wasn't 8, I think. Because if C is 8, this is a 3, 4 pair. And this is a 1. And this is a 4, and this is a 1, 2 pair, so this would be 7, and this would be 3. Yeah, so if C was 8, C could make the statement that no one was told the same number as I was. So, okay, so the problem is 5 and 6, because they are possible totals for D. Yeah, okay. But what we can do is to look at this more carefully. So if this was 1, 2, well, if C was told your number's 5C, then C, no, I can tell you, we know exactly what C looks like. It looks like this. And this would be a 1, 4 pair. Now, what we've got to prove is that this doesn't work. So let's just have a think about this. Why doesn't this work? This would be a 3. This is 4, 3, so this is 1. This is 3, 4, which is actually resolved. Oh, the whole puzzle's resolved. The whole puzzle's resolved. Hang on, now what's wrong with this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, I mean, that is... Okay, so that's a bit mad. But that certainly shows that 5 is not is not what C was told. Because if C was told 5, there's no way that C could make the statement that no one else was told the same digit as I was, because D could be 5, because we've just shown if D was 5, the puzzle finishes. Now, is it the same with 6, and if so, why? So if 6 was the total, this couldn't be a 3-4 pair, so it would still be a 1-2 pair. This would be a 3. So 3-4, we'd still get a 3 in the corner. Now, how does it work now? So this has got 4 in it now, so it has to be a 4-2 pair. This is 2, this is 1, this is 1. If this is 3-4, this is 1. So this is 1, this is 2. This is a 3-4 pair. These are from 2, 3, 4. That's not 3. And, sorry, let me just think about this. So what's, I mean, this is just a deadly pattern, I think. I think this is fine. I don't think this is broken. The Sudoku certainly hasn't broken, has it? If this cage adds up to, so C is told your total, Carl, is 6. There's not, I don't think, there's nothing about the internal logic of the puzzle that says D can't be 6. Yeah, I mean, the challenge here, I think, is a little bit different. Because, I mean, what I've done there is to prove it for 5 and for 6 by effectively just solving the puzzle, which doesn't take very long. But it is a bit of a case testing exercise, which I suppose in a 4x4, that's very doable because the puzzle's so small. But imagine it was a 6x6 or a 9x9. We wouldn't really want to do it that way. But I'm just wondering how is there an elegant way of saying that when Carl is told, or if Carl was told, your number is 5 or your number is 6, that is absolutely possible. It's absolutely possible for D to have the same value. I mean, what we can say is it does feel like it's possible, certainly, because we know one of these is high and one of these is low. So D having one high and one low digit means it absolutely seems possible for it to add to 5 or 6. And this would be 2 or 3 in those instances. And it's either double 2, 1, with this being a 1-4 pair, and that solved the whole puzzle, or it's 3 in the corner, 4, and this is a 2-4 pair to add up to 6, and that we couldn't finish the puzzle, but we could certainly not prove it was broken. Yeah, I'm not sure I can do much better than I've done. What we can say is that Carl's total is 8, 9 or 10. So, right, let me try. I'm now just going to go through it again. So now Albert is 7 or 8, Bertrand is 3 or 7, Carl is 8, 9 or 10, and I don't think we're going to know which, because the only overlap would be with, well, there's no overlap possible with any other. So the moment Carl is told your total is 8, 9 or 10, Carl can make that statement with impunity, because A, B and D cannot have those totals. 8 is the only complicated one, because A can add up to 8, just not when C adds up to 8, because if C adds up to 8, B adds up to 3, which means row 2, column 2 is a 4, and A adds up to 7. It's all quite straightforward. So now Now what? Well, no. Now I know loads. Now I know loads, of course. Because if C adds up to 8, 9 or 10, this is not a 1-2 pair. This is a 3-4 pair. So B is a 1-2 pair. I've got a digit. I've got a digit in the puzzle. That is 4. That's 4. That's 3. Hang on. Oh, look at this. Right, this is 8. Oh, 8, 9 or 10. Bobbins. Okay, but I haven't dealt with the last statement of D yet, so we are going to have to think about that. Let me just stare at this for a moment. Right, so we're now in a brilliant... Now, who knows what? Well, everybody knows Albert was 7. Everybody knows Bertrand was 3. Everybody knows Carl is 8, 9 or 10, except Carl, who knows exactly what Carl is. But nobody else knows what Carl is. But they do know he's 8, 9 or 10. And then David says, someone here knows more digits than I do. Why, David, do you have to say that? Why can't you just say something like, my total is 6? Okay, David's total is not 7 or 3. Because that cannot work. That's going to be 2 high digits or 2 low digits. And that's going to break this. So David's total is 4, 5 or 6. And David knows David's total. And someone here knows more digits than I do. Okay. Well, who can know? The only person who can know more digits than David is Carl. That's definitely right, because Albert knows the grid is in this position, but doesn't have any extra information about Carl or David. The same is true of Bertrand. So neither A nor B can improve upon this position. So somehow, but Carl knows this digit, doesn't he? Carl knows this digit, because Carl knows his own total. Yeah, so imagine if this is 2, in fact, whatever this is, Carl knows loads about these digits. Right, so David is saying someone here knows more digits than I do. So somehow, whatever David puts in here, well, let's think about it. So if David totaled 4, this would be a 1-3 pair, and David would know this was going to be a 1-3 pair. So David would know this digit, which Carl knows. But David also knows that. No, that's wrong. Right. If David does know that this is a 1-3 pair. So if David's told your total, David, is 4, then okay, let's firstly prove what Carl knows, because we know if David's a 1-3 pair, Carl has been told his total is 9, because if David's told his total is 4, this is a 1-3 pair. So Carl has been told your total is 9, and Carl knows 3 digits, because he doesn't know David's total, but he did know his own total. And is there any way Carl knows more than that? I'm going to say no. I don't see how. So, if this is a 1, I think this is better for David than it is for Carl. Because if David knows he's 4, he not only knows Carl's digit, which got Carl 3 digits, but David knows this digit is a 4 and this is a 3. So David knows 5 digits and 6 digits. 6 digits. So David knows way more than Carl knows. So David's total is 5 or 6. Which both, well, problem is 5 has 2 options, because it can be 1, 4 or 2, 3. 6 has 1 option, which is 2, 4. If this is 2, 4, again, David's going to know. David knows a lot of stuff down here. Yeah, that again. Okay, I think it's relatively straightforward. If David is told your total, David, is 6, then immediately David, because there's only one way of making 6 here. Oh, in fact, David even knows that digit. Yeah, David then knows this digit, because this is 4. This digit, this is 2. This digit, this digit, this digit, this digit. David doesn't know this digit, but David knows 6 digits, definitely. Now, Carl knows that digit. And if this is 3, he'd know this digit, this digit. If this is 2 or 1, he knows those 2 digits. So Carl knows 3 digits, David knows 6 digits. So David is still in the lead. And that's not what David is saying. David is saying someone here knows more digits than I do. So David adds up to 5. Now. So David adds up to 5, but doesn't know how he adds up to 5, because it could be 1, 4 or 2, 3. But somehow David now knows that Carl knows more digits than David knows. This is so weird, because even when you find things out, how have you said this? It's just mad. So, hang on. David. So Carl knows 3 digits, because whatever this is, Carl, if that's a 1, that's a 1 and that's a 2, 3 digits. If that's a 2, that's a 2 and that's a 1, 3 digits. If that's a 3, that's a 3 and that's a 4, 3 digits. So Carl knows 3. So David has to know less. I think that's correct, isn't it? That's correct. So David doesn't really know anything, because David doesn't know the composition of his own cage. It could be 2, 3, in which case David would know lots of things. David could probably finish the puzzle. But it could be 1, 4, and then David would know lots of things. But until David knows the composition of his own cage, he doesn't know any more digits than this position that's shown, whereas Carl knows this digit and then 2 more digits, depending on what this digit is. So David's total is 5, and that allows us to say, yes, it's true Carl knows more digits than David. But then after David has made this pronouncement, one of the 4 solvers completes the Sudoku. We know that must be Carl, because Carl is the only one who knows anything about row 2, column 3. And Carl, because of David's last statement, now knows that David's total is 5, because otherwise David would have known more digits than Carl. So, and you can see how it is sort of possible, because whatever Carl knows this digit is, he will then immediately know. I mean, imagine this is 1, then this can't be 1, 4. It would be 2, 3, wouldn't it? But But whatever Carl knows this digit is allows Carl to finish the puzzle. Now that's a more complicated thing. But okay, well, I'm going to claim that this cannot be. I think I want that to be a 1-4 pair, because that will then disambiguate it. If this is a 2-3 pair, how are the 2s and 3s up here ever getting disambiguated? That's the thing I'm sort of wrestling with in my brain. It feels like it's an impossible pattern. Okay, so let's think about that. If that is 2-3, this is 1. Okay, that's all fine. That all works beautifully. This is 3-4. That works beautifully. It all seems to be working, doesn't it? But how are we differentiating 2s and 3s at the top of the grid? You can't do it. There's nothing definitive to get our teeth into. You can't disambiguate it. The 3s are going to be here. We don't. I mean, these are from one. There's no resolving this pattern. Right. So actually, what we're now learning is, I think, that this. Well, we're learning. I think this is a 1-4 pair, which means. Now, actually, is this going to work? Oh, this is... Oh, I see, but Carl knows this value. Yeah, so Carl knows this value, and he knows it's a 2 or a 3, but he knows exactly what it is. So he knows that, because he's now, by David's last statement, he knows this is a 1-4 pair. He now knows all this, and we're going to end up. Okay, so we end up in this position. Look, except that now it resolves because Carl knows. Oh, this is genius. I now understand it. Do you see what I mean? Oh, but one of these has to not work. This is ridiculous. Yeah, you're going to get a 1-2 deadly. I don't believe it. This is absolute genius. Right. Okay, so Carl is not in the position I've shown here. This is the position that Carl gets into before we consider the fact that Carl knows exactly what this value is. Now, imagine this was a 2. If this is a 2, I want to think about 1s and 2s in this box. Let me show you what you can see. So, if you do this, you end up in this position. And how do you disambiguate it? The answer is you can't. And therefore, Carl could not have completed the Sudoku if he was told that his total was 9. So what Carl was told is that his total was 10. This therefore becomes 3. Oh, why can't I put it in? Oh, that's why. That makes this a 2. That disambiguates the 1s and the 2s. Oh, I'm going to put that in last. And that's 3 in the corner. That's 3 in the spotlight, losing its religion. And that is the solution to the puzzle, I think. I mean, it must be right. There is no way you luck into that. It is absolutely breathtaking. That is one of the most brilliant puzzles I have ever solved on the channel. From a constructor's point of view, Elytron, that is complete genius. Complete genius. That puzzle, I hope it gets picked up by the wider world, because it is absolutely brilliant. To do that in a Sudoku. I vaguely remember the original Cheryl's birthday thing. I think... No, I can't remember, but it was very much themed like this. You know, where somebody says, I don't know when the birthday is, and then the next person goes, oh, now I know more. It's absolutely ridiculous. As I say, I think that is one of the most original and sensational things I've ever seen, and I absolutely loved it. And what a birthday treat for me. So it may not be Cheryl's birthday, but it's Simon's birthday, and Elytron has provided, and actually Juggler for recommending it, has provided me with something really rather beautiful. And thanks also actually to Mark, who suggested I have a go at this today too. Now, let me know in the comments how you got on. I enjoy the comments, especially when they're kind, and we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.